Hi, this is Dave from Heroes Needed, just one of the many fine shows you can find on the Nod Network. Visit us on nerdod.com or subscribe on iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, or wherever else you get your favorite podcasts.
Thank you for saying our theme park studio restrooms are your smell that reminds you of Florida the most. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd OD podcast with your fabulous host Reg.
You're fabulous, but what about the rest of us? Like
the
me,
slightly
Dan.
Mediocre Dan.
Wow, thanks.
That's savage. That is savage.
I was, as soon as you started going the fabulous, I was like, is he going to pluralize this? If he doesn't pluralize this, then he's saying only he is fabulous.
Well, no. Let's hang on a second, Dan, because he called himself fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
He called you mediocre. What the fuck does that leave for Dave?
And the utterly graceful, magnificent, and slender chap.
I was going to say intermittent.
Intermittent Dave. I can take intermittent Dave.
Because there's nothing really bad about that. It just highlights that, you're not on every week.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not.
Exactly.
But when I am.
Yeah. Let's not go into what we're going to call Steve.
That's for next time.
Yeah.
I like to bring a certain degree of shine to whatever podcast I attend. No, but I'm happy to be here.
I'm always happy to have you here, Dave.
Oh, thanks, Reg.
Always
Thanks,
happy.
Makes
I
me
know
worth
why.
logging on.
I do know why you're here, though.
I know exactly why he's here. The only reason he's here.
There is a reason.
Because there's the huge, massive new rumour going around about the original Mass Effect Legendary Edition that you want to talk about.
Right, okay. Interesting.
So yeah, there are two reasons why I'm here. In fact, yeah. Well, let's say 3 reasons in total. That is definitely one of them. Because every time the rumor comes out that Mass Effect's coming back, I get the tinglies. I get that prickly feeling that when you go into a shop and you see like a chocolate bar or something which you remember from your youth, and you get that like nostalgic kind of, oh, I really like that. Oh, I might treat myself. You get that kind of feeling. Whenever it says like Mass Effect's come back, that's the feeling I get. Because I'm like, oh, please give me the possibility to indulge in this thing, this nostalgic thing that I love so much.
This nostalgic thing from 4 years ago.
I think it's at least 8 years ago.
Was it really that long ago?
Well, sorry, no, I'm thinking the
I suppose it is. You know what? It must have
been. If you go back to the original,
PS3 and Xbox.
Because Andromeda was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's a while back anyway. Either way, my body is ready for that game. Okay. I have purchased it many times in the past. And this is the thing that got me, right? So someone was telling about this, and they said like end of October is when it's rumored, and various leaks and stuff like that. And
there's never not a rumor about this game, though. I know. Announce it already.
I know, this is my thing. But my point was, end of October is crazy, because N7 Day is the annual Mass Effect celebration day because of the N7 division.
Yeah.
However, someone pointed out that that's really close to the release date of Cyberpunk 2077, and that would be real tricky for them to try and market alongside that, because that game, if it does finally come out when they said it's going to come out, it will be huge, right? So they're thinking bring it out a little ahead of time, which I get, but it feels a shame to miss N7 Day if they're going to bring it out.
They can't announce it. I don't think an announcement would get steamrolled by something like Cyberpunk. It's, if they announced a brand new Mass Effect or a Dragon Age or a Jade Empire or anything like that, then fair enough. There's a good chance that people are going to be like, we've got this for now. Come back to us later. But a re-release, I mean, I doubt a remaster is even going to add that much to it. I think it's just going to be slightly shine.
But the rumor isn't just this an announcement. The rumor is that it's going to be released then.
Oh, okay.
That it's going to drop it at the end of October, which, and this is also the thing. Like I'm all for that. I'm all for just a sudden like, bam, here you go, it's out next week or something. But also, there has to have been work on it. I don't know if we spoke about this last time, but there was the backlash to Mass Effect 3, and you can't have let this much time go past and not have made some changes, because if you release it again, you'll just get the same backlash all over again. And it was bad for BioWare for a time after that. So they really need to have made a few little tweaks and changes, just expand the ending a little bit.
I guess. Well, they did that. Because they re-released. Well, they released them free DLC that changed the ending, or gave you an extra ending or whatever.
It didn't really flesh it out. It made it longer. It gave you a bit of stuff, but it didn't. At the end of Mass Effect 3, realistically, Shepard gets 3 choices, and each of them seem significantly different, but the outcome isn't that different at all. And I think that was the big thing. Everyone was like, you go through these 3 games, you put in 100 hours plus to complete these games, and then the endings, it didn't really matter what you picked in the end. And up until that point, basically everything in Mass Effect has a consequence. Every choice you make affects something. But it felt like they finally got to the end, and then the choices didn't matter. And I understand the disappointment there. I shared some of the disappointment. It wasn't enough to cause me to love that series any less, but I understand why people were frustrated by that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you don't go looking into what these other endings are, you don't get that. Because I didn't. I played it. I finished that game after the extra DLC came out, and I got what I would consider the good ending. In the universe doesn't get completely wiped out or whatever.
Which is positive.
I can't remember. Yeah, exactly. It felt like a good end to me, and I was like, oh, okay, that was good. I enjoyed that. So I didn't have any sort of bad feelings about it. I heard that this was a thing, but I didn't go looking into, well, what are the other endings? Oh, barely any different.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe you should just play a game and not let the internet sort of dictate how much you enjoyed something.
Well, that is one way of looking at it, but unfortunately most of the internet would want to burn the developers at the stake for it, apparently.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that, like, I genuinely, hand on my heart, believe that I completed Mass Effect 3 because I was playing it, loving it, and at the time it's when we were doing the Geek Podcast version of it, this. When all that kickoff started rising, I was like, oh my god, what's the kickoff about that for? So I started looking into it. I was like, oh, and then I delved massively into it, so much so that it actually made me believe that I've completed it. And it was only when I was watching some video of someone spoke about like the best, like top 25 sci-fi games or something, and I was like, I don't remember that bit. Like, what is that bit? Like, holy shit, it's a complete thing I missed out on. So I started having a quick Google. I'm like, I am nowhere near the end. So, like, I know how everything ends on Mass Effect 3, but I never actually completed it. But that gives me one of the 2 incentives to get this new trilogy remaster bundle. So, and probably you're completely up to speed on everything that's going on because you're probably the same as what I am to Shenmue.
I think so. I think that's fair.
So 2 days ago, sources from GameBeat, sources that went to GameBeat, went and said that, hey, now we're actually going to be pushing this out into early 21. So we're hopefully going to be getting it in March or April. Reason being is they've looked at Mass Effect 1 and gone, yeah, you know what? We put so much love and work into 2 and 3 on the engine and all the story and stuff like that everyone loved the story for Mass Effect 1, but everyone hated the gameplay of Mass Effect 1. So what we're going to do is go back. Because he said, going on what everyone keeps saying is we can't release this trilogy in good effect, knowing that based on the graphical and gameplay differences between Mass Effect 1 and 2, releasing the bundle then ample paying attention to the original game mechanics and visual would make a very poor first impression to new players and make them not wish to continue. So
that is the Shenmue 1 and 2 HD syndrome, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're going back now, and apparently we're going to be getting a lovingly, completely redone whole shebang of Mass Effect 1.
Fair enough. I can see that. Which version though? Would they just get everything up to date so it plays like 3?
I should imagine so, mate, because they haven't obviously give away too much, but they said that they're not including the multiplayer.
Right.
Mass Effect 3 into the
Don't
remaster
bother. No one cares about
It was a thing where I played it a few times. Like, oh, this is fun, and then I was like, I play Mass Effect for the story.
Absolutely.
I've played that game many times, and I will confess that at least one of my playthroughs I did on the casual difficulty, because I'm not there for the combat. I'm not there for it to be hard to complete. I'm there for it to play the story through.
I found that recently with my limited time that I have to play games. I say recently, in the last few years. Not very recently, because I've found that sometimes I just go, do you know what? Let's just play it on easy, so I can experience this game, because I've got this game next waiting and things. So I get that. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
It also feels like an action movie. If you play a game like Mass Effect and you play it on casual difficulty, Shepard is an action hero. Shepard goes into combat and just blows people away and gets to do cool stuff. I mean, you can play it on hard, and then you've got the accomplishment of having done it. But I mean, that's fine for some people, and I'm never gonna take that away from somebody. But at the same time, like, I wanna just play the story through. I'm treating that game like it's a role-playing game that I am steering my way through. And the combat the set pieces and stuff are there to further the story, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know. That's me. I love that game with all my heart. I think you're right, Reg. As much as you love Shenmue, I love Mass Effect. And if they were to come out and say they're going to announce a game, but not release it until March or April, but they were going to do that to it, and they were going to refine Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 1, which has an incredible story in its own right, but had gameplay elements that were genuinely infuriating. Then I'm all for that, because then it goes back to, they could announce it on N7 Day and then release it 3 months later, and that would be fine.
That'd be awesome.
I'd give me a good excuse to buy it for my birthday in February. So, not that I wouldn't buy it anyway.
The only thing I could see, sorry, I'll let you guys move off this in a second, but if they change the first one especially, and say the second one to all play the same as the third one, I'm guessing that's what they would see the third one as being that is what it was meant to be. That they eventually got to it. It's going to feel like, or it could feel like, one ridiculously long game. But then you've got, if I remember right, you play through one as Shepard, you level up your character and everything, and then does he die or go missing at the end of the first one or something?
No, the opening of Mass Effect 2 is one of the greatest intros of any game, and I put that up there with the opening cinematic from Resident Evil 3. I put it up there with some of the best opening sequence. No.
You missed out Resident Evil 1 and went straight for 3.
Yeah, because 3 has that incredible cinematic with Raccoon City, man.
Barry Burton being all fucking legendary and heroic.
Always comes back. It always comes back to me.
Well, I'll tell you what. I put it up there with 3. If one's that good as well, I put it up there too. But the opening of Mass Effect 2, bearing in mind you finish Mass Effect 1, you're a goddamn hero. And then the opening of Mass Effect 2, Shepard dies. Shepard gets blown up and blown out of his ship and shot into space. And then you have to come back from that. And then you get the kind of how Shepard has come back, how and why he's come back. And it is so cool. It's genuinely just such a cool experience.
I just found it very clever how they use it to sort of, the amount of times you'll play a game and you'll level up and you'll be amazing by the end of it, and then you'll go for the sequel and suddenly you're starting from scratch again. You're like, how come you can't remember all this stuff that you could do in the first one? And it makes no sense. But they, as they're resurrecting him, they're bringing him back, you get, everything gets reset, because this is like a new person, and you get to choose the characteristics of the person again, even though it's the same character. Like, you even get to choose his facial features again, don't you? So you can choose to just go with standard Shepard, or Femme Shepard, or whatnot, or
Shepard's being rebuilt,
or do your own character creation. So I remember that being very clever, and thinking, all right, I guess that's how we're getting around this.
Yeah.
But that's gonna suddenly, if it is all rejigged into this one version of the game, that's gonna be a bit of a sort of a weird moment where you're like, right, yeah, I'm really getting into this now. Oh, now he's dead. Now we're starting again.
Yeah, I do hope that they keep it as a kind of continuation.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm playing anyway. The big question I have is whether or not I play it this time as FemShep specifically.
I have never done that, and I always wanted to have a replay of it and do that. But again, from what I heard, in the first one at least, and probably the second one, it was a little bit of an afterthought. Whereas the third one, they proper fleshed her out and went, right, this is a character in its own right.
Yeah. Well, the big thing is it's about the quality of the actors. I mean, we've spoken about this before. I know we have, but just that idea that Jennifer Hale is a fantastic voice actor, and as much as I love Mark Meir and I'll always love his performance as Shepard, Jennifer Hale is arguably just a better voice actor. So it's, do you want that experience of having someone who's just genuinely better at acting, So anyway, Mass Effect is excellent. Everyone should play it. If they release a remastered, everyone should go and buy it, and that's my number one decree. Another reason, number two on my reason why I'm here with you this evening, is Friday sees the launch of Star Wars Squadrons.
Is that Friday?
It's Friday. And
Holy shit.
I'll get the PlayStation back to you, Reg, don't worry.
Yeah, there are a few games that I'm as excited about. I mean, Mass Effect's one of them, obviously, but the idea of it
been announced is one of them.
Yeah, of course. But the idea that we're that close to a Star Wars flight simulator in all intents and purposes, potentially the best flight sim experience in Star Wars since X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, which was hands down one of the best games you could ever play on Windows 95 or whatever it was, Windows 98. But I still think about that game and how cool it was. So Star Wars Squadron's coming out so soon, and it just feels like it wasn't announced that long ago.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't.
And then it's out on Friday.
Oh my god! Wow. Yeah, I'm so excited for that because again, I know this doesn't affect you in the slightest, but the VR mode of that for the full campaign is just going to be mind blowing.
Hey, I don't have PSVR, but I can definitely appreciate how fucking cool that's going to be.
And at some point, we need to get together so I can stick you in that and stick you in the Battlefront demo thing in the PSVR, that you could just experience.
Is amazing.
What it's like, because that was just basically being a 2-year-old kid again, just like, oh my god, I'm flying an X-wing, but it's not a cardboard box this time; it's an actual fucking X-wing.
I worry though that if you put me in your PSVR and you let me experience that it would be too close to a sexual experience, and both of our wives would ask questions because they'd wonder why I was making all these sex noises in your presence. So
it's like I've put on Pornhub VR instead, and then Lou will just murder me, and I'm like, it wasn't. It was Star Wars, but it's the same thing basically in those eyes. It's fine.
She'll murder us all. No, I am. It's something I do want to play. I think that the reason why I'm kind of happy I don't have that is I worry that I would never stop playing it, and then I come out of VR 3 years later. My wife and daughter are gone. My house is empty. I'm just sitting there in my underwear, haven't moved. That's a very real possibility. I don't want to live that life.
See, that's why I'm waiting for, I know they'll probably do it at some point because I know they're tinkering with the idea of doing MMOs in VR. And the minute they're like, I'll tell you what, then we'll stick WoW in VR. That's me just gone. I'm like, goodbye.
Can you imagine? There must be a team at Blizzard right now who are working on that in secret, because that is a game that has been crying out for VR for, Christ, how long has WoW been out now? Is it 15 years?
Yeah, easy, yeah. It's got to be. It was since, because people getting statues about 5 years ago for it being out for 10 years or something. So
wow,
I think it's got to be something like that.
Because that's the big thing, isn't it? Like that is, there are lots of MMOs out in the world these days.
16 years. 16
years, jeez. But World of Warcraft is, when anyone thinks about what an MMO is, they're usually thinking of World of Warcraft, right? Mm-hmm. So if there was going to be one that had a quality VR version, it was going to be that. And Blizzard must be working on that. You gotta be.
My God. I'd love it. I was saying to Dan before, I know we talked about this last week, so I won't go too much into it. But obviously I've started smashing it out. And while Ash is watching stuff on Netflix, and I'm watching it as well, I should say, I've just been having that on the laptop, just playing it while I'm doing it. And I played WoW for a good 5-6 years straight. I played WoW. And already, since having this laptop for a month and a bit, I'm already surpassed my level I was when I played it for the 6 years. And I played that game each night for a good 5, 6, 8 hours a night, and I've passed it already. I was chatting to Dave over it, and I'm like, guess what? The guy started playing WoW again, and I'm already surpassed where me and you were up to all those years back. And I was like, it's phenomenal how streamlined, but still how amazing it is.
Please tell me you play a dwarf paladin called Frank Bunty.
I've got a paladin called Frank Bunty. He was my original character. Well, in fact, he was my second.
It was not
character.
an original name, David. Sorry to disappoint you.
Frank Bunty started life off as a cardboard cutout of a zombie from Resident Evil remake on the Green GameCube. That's how Frank Bunty came to life, because Nina Myers had a party around hers, and I had no one to bring with me. So I asked our boss at the time if I could take the Resident Evil GameCube thing, and she was like, "Yeah, just go for it." So I was like, "I'm going to call you Frank," and then for some reason Bunty came into it, and Frank Bunty was, from that moment on, was everything. That's where he originated from. So he's been my custom character and my life partner since the remake of the Resident Evil 1.
Frank Bunty is love. Frank Bunty is life.
Frank Bunty is love. Frank Bunty is life. It's just glorious. But yeah, so just quickly glancing over this, because I don't want to talk too much about it, because I know we've already talked about it loads. But I was saying to Dan, it's amazing the way that they've streamlined WoW, so you can get up to the latest expansion that's coming out, the Shadowlands. But at the same time, you can literally go back and just do whatever you want to do still, and not be over leveled and overpowered. So, for example's sake, I've literally skipped 2 expansion packs and gone straight into the 3rd expansion pack that they've done. Just because I've leveled so quickly, I've missed out on so much content. I was like, missed that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go back and actually, see Arthas turn into the Lich King and do all the fun stuff with that. And I'll be able to just razz through it now so quickly because I'm so OP. But they make sure that all the enemies in that area level up with you. So instead of what it used to be level 58 to 89, now they are literally level 92, level 93, because I am level 93. So they always stick to your level, which is amazing, because then you're not feeling like you're missing out on any content because you're going to be too OP for it.
Yeah.
The downside to that, though, is, I was saying to Dan, with your professions and stuff you do, obviously you got to keep on top of everything. So I'm like the leather worker for the guild, and I failed miserably because I leveled through the game so quick I didn't get a chance to do all the skills and all the tailoring and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, I'll go back to the starting area, and this is how I found out, because I was like, I'll go back to Ironforge, which is level 1 and 2 enemies. And I went back there and fought a fucking rabbit that was level 82. And I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? I was like, you are not supposed to be this. Because that's the level I was at the time. And I'm like, this is just insane. It's like, how old are you people? I was like, oh no, they level with me. Right, I get it now. And experience points and stuff you get are all the same as what they should be for this level. So even if you do smash out to a game, so you don't get bored, you can go back and go through all the story stuff that you've missed out on, because the lore is amazing, and the story, despite everyone just skipping all the quest logs and stuff, the story to it is phenomenal. The actual proper full-on story.
Oh, yeah.
World of Warcraft.
Well, again, Blizzard don't mess around, do they? Blizzard, if they're going to put the effort in, you're going to get a story. You're going to get lore. You're going to get supplementary content. They don't mess around with that. Look at StarCraft. StarCraft has a huge following because of the fact that there's so much to it. Same with Overwatch. Same with World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I mean, Hearthstone's huge. Hearthstone's this crazy, simple little card game. and yet it's massive because it shares so much of the World of Warcraft lore. So
yeah, it is. It's like the effort they put in is amazing, and when they don't put in the effort, geez, you get the Warcraft 3 Reforged edition, which was shockingly poor, which is a shame. But I was saying to Dan again beforehand, I got lost as Dan was talking to me. I was like, oh my god, look at this. I was like, sorry, Dan, you were saying that some modders basically took it upon themselves to fix Warcraft 3 Reforged, and they've done an awesome job at it. So now it's like amazing. But they didn't stop there. They were like, you know what else we can do? We can actually do Warcraft 2 while we're at it. So let's do that. So inside Warcraft 3 Reforged, using their engine, they've completely redone the entire campaigns for Warcraft 2. And because Blizzard now having this after the whole Dota mistake of not owning it, they put at the bottom of their little clause for everything you create, we basically own. So you can't go out and sell it and claim it as your own and go off on it. So they've just let the guys do it and it's like, yeah, you go on, do it. It's fine. We owe it, so you can't go off and sell it and you can't make any money from it. So just create it for us. And this team of 6 modders have gone, sound, we'll do that. And you can actually download and play the first 4 maps now of the campaign, and it looks phenomenal. So I was like, and for free to play, that's amazing, because Blizzard have now gone, yeah, we've lost a lot of money now, we could have sold this. But at the same time, we fucked up so bad on the Warcraft 3 Reforged that so many people asked for refunds. We probably can't get away with doing a Warcraft 2 Reforged. And I'm like, yeah, you lost your own battle there, guys. You fought yourself and lost.
Yeah, you played yourselves. But speaking of Blizzard, real quick, so they've announced that BlizzCon's taking place in February, and everyone's thinking that's going to mean they're going to release Overwatch 2 around that time, which obviously I'm here for.
I'm surprised there hasn't been some sort of Series X or PS5 announcement for Overwatch 2, even for being an exclusive or at least a day one launch title. Yeah. That would be huge.
Yeah, there's something to be said about the fact that there are some games that are ripe for launch title-age, but I don't know, maybe they're not going to be ready, so don't bother rushing it. But
I think it would be more on, it depends on whether Sony or Microsoft have approached them, I guess.
Yeah, I think the thing with Blizzard just like money. Well, Activision now seems Activision and Blizzard. Activision just love money, so absolutely. they won't take away anything that could actually make them the money.
Yeah, but then what does Microsoft do? They throw money at things. They could very easily just go, right, here is a ridiculous amount of money.
Let's have 7.2 billion for Doom.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that was it. They said about what was it talking about the when they sort of just bought out the whole studio, and it's that idea of just what's that? You want these games, PlayStation? Nope, we're going to buy the entire studio, so we get all of the exclusives and we get all of the games from this for $7 billion.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money, but the theory is, I suppose it's a bit of a high risk, high reward, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if it doesn't work out, they just write it off. Microsoft aren't going anywhere.
Christ, all they need to do is there's 3 things they need to do just to make that money back in one hit. That is go, hey guys, guess what? There's a new Fallout coming out. There's bank right there. That's not 76. This is not an online one. Yeah. This is an actual proper full-on Fallout game. And if they did it correctly, because Wasteland's been so popular, and they gone, here's an old school Fallout for you, isometric top-down Fallout, old school Fallout. My God, I think about 1,000 fanboys would just go ridiculously hard, including myself.
I am also one of those fanboys.
So that would be awesome. The second thing they need to do is literally just go, so Elder Scrolls is now actually officially exclusive to Xbox. And then everyone go, oh shit, here's all the money. And then the last thing...
Which would be unusual, wouldn't it? For an Elder Scrolls game to only be on one device.
One format. Yeah, can you imagine? It would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, the third thing they need to do is go, right, so we now have two of the biggest known space marines in gaming history. We need to do a Doom
Halo v Doom.
Master Chief crossover.
Imagine.
But then, so I've been wildly thinking about this so much recently because someone put up a picture of so Doom Eternal's marketing for a lot of it was as he's going through the portal. It's like a blue portal. It looks a bit like the Stargate one. It looks like that. And then someone's put up another picture from like Halo 2 or 3, I think it is, of the Master Chief looking at a blue light, but it's glowing up so much it looks a bit like the portal. And then underneath it's like, please guys, make it happen. And I'm like, that would be so good. And then I'm like, you know what though? That would be so pointless because no one could reach the levels of Doom Guy. Like, literally, Master Chief comes on and goes, hey, look, we've got these 1,000 fucking weapons. I've got Warhog and stuff. And the Doom Guy just goes, I've got this BFG and a chainsaw.
Right. Yeah, but you say this, Reg, but they find a way. I mean, look at Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. How on earth is anyone supposed to beat Sonic the Hedgehog at anything to do with running? Yeah, they make it work. They make it work.
That's gone from the most unfamily-friendly crossover to the most family-friendly crossover.
Reg, it's the Nerd podcast. We're all about family-friendly.
I love it. All about diversity.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. It would be incredible, but at the same time, they'd be like, do you guys, have any diversity in your character models? Because you're both guys in green armor just running around wrecking shit. Like, yeah, but one does aliens, one does hell demons. It's slightly, but...
And maybe they're not fighting each other, Reg. Maybe they are teaming up.
Go back to back.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, I dig it. I like the idea. And I can't stop thinking about it. And that could possibly... Anything that says, hey guys, guess what? Doom is an exclusive on this console. It probably has me. I'll be honest, because I fucking love me some Doom. Unless, of course, Sony then go, hey, guess what? Shenmue 4 and 5 is actually coming out on the PlayStation. And I'm like, what is an Xbox? Like, I don't understand what an Xbox actually is. It's not a machine that's capable of playing Shenmue. What? So...
Not worth knowing about if there is no Shenmue.
It's not. Now I know it's a possibility. After 20 years of ripping into people for it, I can finally say, shit, look, it's here. It's in my hand. Number 3 is here. So now I can wait another 20 years going, on the PlayStation 7, it will be out. And I'll be able to do it as we're watching Shenmue the anime. You and Bay can watch it. Me and Oliver can watch it. Then Shell and Budge can watch it. We can all just get in and watch.
What do you think? What do you think the timescale and the timeline is for Shenmue 4?
I reckon Shenmue 4, and it's a massive if, it does get made. I reckon it's going to be about 23 when it comes out, and then I reckon
when
Shenmue
it comes
5,
out or when it gets announced.
When it comes out, I reckon it'll get announced after Shenmue the animation finishes.
Okay.
And I reckon Shenmue 4 will come out 2023, and I reckon Shenmue 5 will be 2025, and then Yu Suzuki will retire.
Shenmue 3 was 2019, and didn't it get announced in what, 2015?
2015. Yeah,
hang on, Reg. Are you planning 2 new Shenmue games in the next 5 years? What was the gap between Shenmue 2 and 3?
Well,
just remind me.
It was a 20-year gap.
Okay.
That we waited, but the reason for that was basically because Sega owned the IP for it and didn't want to give it up in case they wanted to do something with it. They weren't quite sure. And Yu Suzuki was just like, please just let me have it. And then they're like, well, you can have it, but we're not funding anything. So try fund it. And he's like, oh, right, okay. So that's why Kickstarter happened. And now they know that even on all the Shenmue pages, people are like, I feel ripped off for this, but if it happens again, I'll definitely Kickstart it. It's gonna happen again. Everyone's gonna kick off that we've got a mediocre title because it's only reached 6.7 million or whatever. But we'll end it. We will end it. We will have Shenmue 4 and 5, and they will come out. And those are the years they're going to come out because he's going to use the same engine. He'll be stupid not to use an Unreal Engine when it was free. for them to use, and it was so easy to make. And they've got the character models, they've got everything they need to do now. All they need to do is put a story in it.
You're saying you're right though. You and the fans, myself included, are okay with them just using exactly the same system and having it look identical. We've got no complaints over how it looks, but that's not what general public want. The next version needs to look better and play better, especially because it's now going to be straddling 2 generations.
Yeah, but the thing is, it won't. It really, really won't.
No, but then that was the complaints about 3. The 3 looked terrible when it didn't. I think it looked beautiful in places.
In some places, it looked like one of the best games on the console. It genuinely, some of the landscapes and the visuals were absolutely breathtaking in it. But then, yes, some points it did look like a PS2 title. And you know what? I don't care because we got it. And I know that the general public, the likes of Dave, if Dave came across it, because he only knows of Shenmue because of my rantings.
That is true.
But if he came across Shenmue 3 and was like, well, I don't get it. Like, why does everyone love this so much? It looks like a cheap indie title.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would insist on giving him at least a 5-hour lecture, just non-stop shouting.
They could have released Shenmue 3 with Tomb Raider 1-esque polygon graphics, and you still would have been happy, Reg, because it was a game for you. It was a game made to make you happy, and I'm happy for you.
Exactly, and that's why I've said it countless times, even when me and Dan did like a Shenmue retrospective podcast, and I just said, even if they just say, you know what, we'd love to do it, but we honestly can't. So we're making Shenmue animation, and if it takes off, we're going to complete the story in the Shenmue the animation. I would be like, you know what, guys, we had a damn good run, and we did it. We finally got the end of the story, and I'd be happy. I know
it's true. It doesn't matter what form it is,
as
long as it happens.
Because there's a vault in Yu Suzuki's office somewhere that's got the master script for everything. So the story is done, and he's told a few people where it is, just in case he doesn't survive long enough to finish off the actual story.
Yeah, that's what George Lucas said, though.
So it's,
and I bet that's what George R.R. Martin says.
But the thing is, George R.R. Martin,
I know what's going to happen, guys. I know it.
He greenlit it. He greenlit it and was like, you know what, fucking go off about me, and I'll just say, yeah, that's not what happened. If people kicked off about the ending,
yeah,
Yu Suzuki's going
to see.
Our ending is going to be, we know what's going to happen. He's going to get to Landy. He's not going to be able to kill Landy because, you know, he's a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
Ryu's our good boy, and he'll make Landy see the error of his ways, and Landy will write a very, very long, strong-worded letter apologising to Ini-san.
That's it.
And then Ryu's going to go home and say, hey, Fuku-san, look, I've got this letter from Landy. I didn't murder him like everyone thought I was going to do. Aren't I the bigger man? Credits.
Okay, well, we just saved $60 million.
Well done, Reg.
Well,
and I would be happy. You know what? I'd even be happy if there's just a table that Yu Suzuki sat at and said, for the next 2 hours, you've got me telling you what happens in Shenmue 4 and 5.
Okay. And you're sat there going, I wish I spoke Japanese.
Yeah. You just have Mark Cerny in the corner going, this is what he said. Yeah. And at some point, we would love to make this, but we know it's not going to happen. Thank you. So, yeah, I'd love it. I love it, and I need it, and I want it. Can we have it?
I want you to have it, Reg. I want you to have it.
I wonder if I'm going to have the Shenmue 4 announcement before you get your Mass Effect Remaster announcement.
It wouldn't surprise me, man. It would not surprise me.
Actually, I feel that you want Shenmue 4 almost as much as Dave wants to know what the smell in the Harry Potter toilets at Universal Studios is.
I do want that, Dan. But more importantly than that, what I actually want is I want Reg to tell me what the wrong answers that he got after going into several public forums and asking what the smell of a public toilet in a theme park was. Yeah. I want to know what you got told, Reg, that was not the answer, because I imagine there were some choice extracts there.
Absolutely. Just to quickly recap for people who didn't hear 2 weeks ago's episode, we were talking about things that I can't remember how we got onto it. Smells, things at theme parks that we
it was
miss.
the
Theme parks, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dave said that he really likes and would love to know what the smell was in the toilets at Hogsmeade at Universal Studios, the Harry Potter part of the theme park. So Reg, who is a member of all the forums and all the Facebook groups about theme parks because he likes Florida, decided he'd go on and ask. So I believe you have an answer, Reg.
I do. So some of the wrong answers.
Okay.
Kiss your mum. It tastes like her mouth.
Jesus.
Was one of them.
Have you censored that? Is that exactly word for word what it said? Because that sounds like a bit too polite to me.
No, that was all these are family friendly forums, aren't
Okay.
A lot of them are just it's my ass after going on Rip Ride and Rocket.
That sounds
Some
about
of them
right.
is it's a celebration of my love juice after seeing Hogwarts for the very first time. Right.
It's graphic.
My stomach after trying both the frozen and unfrozen butterbeers. Another one is just my finger.
I mean, fair enough. I mean,
Yep.
Interesting. And I was like, I'm not going to get anywhere with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Universal directly. So I did. I did it on their socials, and I emailed them from their website on the Contact Us with an email was put on with very high importance. I tracked it using a thing which we're not supposed to legally use anymore because apparently that's banned. But a tracking software which says that when they've received it and what time they've opened it and who's opened it from their thing, I can use that email package. So I seen that they've received it and they've opened it, and then they responded on their socials as well and said, "Tune in next week, Dave, because that's all we've got time for." No. What they actually said to me was very underwhelming, so I apologise in advance.
Right.
But this has been clarified by one of the cleaners who apparently works there on the Orlando Time for Brits adults only page. It is a concoction of apple and cinnamon that has been blended together on a unbranded for Universal only thing. However, if you did want to recreate the smell at home, the Airwick apparently smells identical to it. You can get an apple and cinnamon Airwick, which is literally that smell.
Really?
So I then went on and told everybody this and was like, the minute I launch it on the podcast, I need to let you guys know, because I linked in the podcast because obviously I started off asking for a friend.
You want to prove to them that you do have friends who have weird questions.
Well, I just want to be like, I wonder if any of the people actually listen to this. And then I'd be
fair question.
And then out of that, I also want to know if anyone actually believed me when I said I'm asking for a friend, because a lot of them were just like, "Yeah, are you asking for the friend that's waiting for you in that bathroom?" I'm like,
nice.
No, I'm not doing that either. There was a lot of smut. There was a lot of smut that I don't want to use on here. But yeah, those are some of the nicest ones that I had until I got the actual answer from Universal going, "Thanks for saying our restrooms, sorry. Thank you for saying our theme park studio restrooms are your smell that reminds you of Florida the most." I'm just like, yeah.
You know what? It does sound quite weird when you put it like that. But at the same time, apple and cinnamon, that's a great scent. So I'm not disappointed in that, because ultimately, if I can get an Airwick that smells a lot like that, then I'm definitely going to buy one, because I want that smell in my life. And I'm not ashamed to admit that it's the smell of a public toilet in a theme park. I want that smell. So, Reg, I appreciate you putting your reputation on the line to ask complete strangers about toilet smells, because I didn't do it, and it was my question, and I should have taken that abuse that you instead received. So I thank you.
You are welcome. We might get some new listeners from this.
And if you want to know, mate, you can buy it at Wilco for £4.
Wow. Even better.
So there you go. There is your holiday smell for £4.
I do love Wilco.
So now all I need to do is get someone to go to the opening of the Orlando airport doors when you first enter the sunshine after being on the plane for 8.5 hours. Just recreate that smell.
Yeah.
And find out what that is. And then I can have that, and that'll be my smell. I'll be very happy with that.
The smell of the feeling of sun.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It's that happy moment now. Me and you walked out for the first time as Ash went running. And she didn't let me down on the second trip either.
It wasn't even that hot a day, was it?
I need to be the first one. Okay. You go for it, babe.
Yeah.
You go for it.
Memories.
That was happy times.
All alone in the moonlight.
Memories. Yeah. I did have something else I was going to talk about, and I completely forgot what it was now, but it was quite important, and then you threw
And that is why we have a list.
Yeah, because you know what it was? Because we've done a lot of talk about Resident Evil today, mainly about how awesome Barry Burton is. And have you seen that they basically have announced a new CGI series on Netflix, which is coming out next year, and apparently it's called Infinite Darkness. And they've now had to show the teaser trailer, which they weren't going to do when they did, but it's because of Portuguese Netflix. Were like, hey, look at this. And they just stuck it up, but apparently Capcom were going to announce it on their little game show, Tokyo Game Show streams that they were doing. And they were going to show it like at the end of the week to be like, this is what we're going to end on, look at all this stuff. And yet, because some Portuguese Netflix account was like, hey, look at this new Netflix series that's coming out of Resident Evil, everyone's like, let's have a look at this. And because they leaked it early, Capcom went, right, let's push it in now at the beginning of the week. Look at this. Here's Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. So it's Claire Redfield and Leon Kennedy. It looks like graphically looks good. Looks like a lot better than Damnation and stuff. So that's always a bonus. It looks like it's going to be very dark and gritty and stuff, which is cool. It's including zombies, which makes a nice change now for Resident Evil because it seems to be including everything else that's not a zombie. So that's happy days. And it's not this Resident Evil series that everyone was talking about. So, they're still doing the live action Resident Evil series for Netflix.
Oh, I assumed this was it.
No, so they're still doing that one, which I've now lost about 89% of my interest in the live action one, just off the one little synopsis. So the guys tweeted the picture of the front cover of the script, who wrote it, and then just read out what was on the first page. And basically, it's the Wesker kids. The Wesker kids come into Raccoon City to figure out what's going on. And I'm like, oh, the Wesker kids? Like, this is bullshit, because the original pictures of the Resident Evil series showed the Spencer Mansion, and I'm like, holy fuck, are we actually going to get a series about the Spencer Mansion, like the original setting for Resident Evil? Are we going to have Barry Burton in live action, a proper Barry Burton, ragging around with his Colt Python, making Jill sandwich jokes and shit? Are we going to get Resident Evil? And now we're going to get a bunch of snotty-nosed little fucking annoying kids that are basically just kids that have been injected with the serum that Wesker had, and that's how these little clones were made of Wesker and stuff, running around trying to fucking solve crimes in Raccoon City and take on shit. I've got no interest in this now.
Is it Scooby-Doo Resident Evil?
It could potentially be that. I'll be honest with you, I sort of went a bit seeing red when all of a sudden it was just like, hey, take out these 3 Wesker kids. I'm like, no. And yeah, I'm genuinely not happy about that. So now the fact that they were like, hey, here's a CGI Resident Evil series, I'm like, that'll do me. Like, I'm satisfied with that. I don't want to see this Wesker Kids Resident Evil series. I've got no interest in that. Everyone's now saying, oh, it's Stranger Things in Resident Evil, or Stranger Things Raccoon City, and I'm like, I wasn't a fan of Stranger Things, so I'm definitely not going to like this. So,
oh well,
that's upsetting, isn't it?
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, there's a bit of news on So Disney Plus are moving full steam ahead with their Marvel TV shows. Obviously, Winter Soldier has been pushed back to next year. We've had a trailer. I can't remember whether we talked about it. I think we did briefly, didn't we? Talked about the trailer for WandaVision.
Yeah, because that makes zero fucking sense.
Yeah, but
like I know it does for people who read the comics and stuff, but the people who don't are like, what?
Well, apparently not. Apparently it is just a very weird, disjointed trailer, but I'm sure that's the idea. But they're going to be doing a Nick Fury TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that rumor.
Mm.
And
Well, it's confirmed now.
Oh, is it confirmed? Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know how I feel about that. If it was like, here's the Nick Fury series with David Hasselhoff in it as Nick Fury, the way it should be, like the 80s film.
Oh, God.
Is that on
Hasselhoff.
Disney Plus?
I don't
not,
know, but
why
it needs to be. It's incredible. Then I'll be all for it. But because I've got nothing against Samuel Jackson, and I like his Nick Fury, but do I like it enough to have a full series around him? No.
Well, it doesn't. I don't know whether it's specifically whether he's linked to it. So whether it's going to be a young Nick Fury.
Oh God.
I don't know. Yeah, the reports are they all mention him, but I've not seen anything that says that he's signed on. So you might find that it's, or they could even de-age him like they did in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, the one thing I was genuinely, so I was saying to you before, we've got Amazon Prime now, so we can carry on watching The Boys and stuff.
Yes.
Didn't realize how many different DC stuff is on Amazon Prime. Like I didn't realize Swamp Thing was out over here.
Yeah.
On that now. Like I want to watch that and see what that's actually like.
Problem is, don't get too involved in it because it got cancelled. I don't even think they finished showing the entire thing over in the States.
Right. Okay. And there's one other one, some girl one. What was it?
Stargirl.
Stargirl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That's another.
That?
Another Arrowverse.
One. Oh, is it?
Yeah. Although they all are after in Crisis.
Right. Okay.
I mean, if you know anything about Crisis, you know how it all roughly ends. So everything is one world now. Even what's the Black Lightning? But see, Black Lightning's on Netflix, and I've never really got round to wanting to watch that. Don't know why. I think the Arrowverse stuff just got to me in the end. It was just all a bit too much. So I kind of drifted off from him. I know Supergirl's coming to an end. They've only got one final season of that.
Yeah.
But
no sign of the end of
Flash.
They're doing Superman and Lois, aren't they, or something instead now?
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's supposed to be as well as, because they brought Superman in. Everyone always goes on about how good a Superman he is, but I don't see it. But
I know that Supergirl's pregnant as well, isn't she, in real life?
In real life, yeah.
Melissa Benoist or
Benice
or whatever.
But probably a good timing because I don't think they could film anyway because of COVID and whatnot. But you mentioned The Boys, though. The Boys is getting a spin-off as well, which sounds...
Ready?
Yeah. So it's going to be set in a college of fledgling superheroes.
Oh, God.
So if you've seen anything of The Boys, basically the whole world, all the superheroes are owned and managed by a company called Vought International. And basically the idea is going to be that this college is going to be run by Vought, and they are bringing up the next generation of superheroes. Which I just don't know how I feel about it. There's something about the thing about The Boys. Even like when they announced that it was coming out, they had me anyway because the comics are just so good and so messed up. Like any of Garth Ennis' stuff is just really wrong in so many places. So that and Preacher especially. But the TV series is sort of grounding it really well. It's not as messed up in the same way, but it's really pushing the boundaries of what some TV shows do with some of the storylines. Just brilliant. I absolutely love it. But I can't see this spin-off working. I just can't see how it's going to be as, I don't know, intense and dark, and that's what makes The Boys so good.
Yeah. I don't. I'm all for the boys, but spin-offs and stuff, nah.
No.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, still got the same producers and whatnot and everything.
But
Reading here that apparently it's going to be part college show, part Hunger Games, with all the heart, satire, and raunch of the boys.
God, no.
Those three things
1000%.
are not what make the boys so good.
Mm.
I don't know. Really don't know.
I feel like I'm all for a spin-off. I'm all for something which is good getting a slightly different take. That's all cool, but I feel like I know the comic series The Boys has been around for a lot longer. I have not read it. I can't speak for it, but the series it's only on its second series.
Yeah, it's already. I mean, before season 2 even came out, they greenlit series 3, so it's getting good numbers.
That's cool, but I just feel like you've got more stories to tell with the core characters. The rest of it, doing a spin-off, I understand. Like, I'm all for a spin-off when you've kind of run out of stories to tell with your main characters and you want to sort of change that up. I think that's great, but I don't know. Well, it could be great. I could be totally wrong.
I'm not disagreeing here. I think you're mostly right, but then look at something like we were talking a few weeks ago about the Walking Dead spin-offs, and I'm finding it hard to picture these shows being that successful, because I think if people are bored of the main show, why are they going to want to then spend their time getting to know these new characters and, looking into these other shows?
Yeah.
I just don't know. So it's a fine line. It's too early, it's too late. When do they do it? I mean, what is an example of a spin-off show that was as successful or more than its parent show? Just don't know.
I mean, Angel ran for 5 series?
Yeah, I don't think that was. I mean, well, Buffy was 7 seasons, 8 seasons, 7, wasn't it?
I don't think it was. I mean, I was never a big Angel fan, but it was relatively successful. It's kind of sparked David Boreanaz's career, and he went on to do some other stuff. So but
oh no, it wasn't Angel. It was his stint. It was his turn as the Crow that really cemented his career, I think. I'm being very sarcastic.
Oh, good. Okay, I was thinking, what?
Yeah, it's all right.
I was thinking, Dan, why?
Yeah.
No.
The Crow 4 or whatever it was by that point.
Oh, God.
But I don't know. It goes one way or another. It is exactly. It's like this. It's too early. I like I say, I completely agree. It's too early. And people just you just don't need to do these stories yet. You're still well in the thick of the main plot of the main show. That why do we need to go off and show these other things?
Yeah.
And then, or you do it way too late, and then it's when the show is it's on its way out and people are done with it. Yeah, I mean, they tried, it's like rebooting a show. It's like when they tried to do 24 again, that was terrible. I mean, I think the only successful thing that does this, or did it, is Star Trek.
Yeah.
You had, when Next Generation came back, I think everyone was like, but once that was shown to be a bit of a success, I don't think people were necessarily expecting there to be another spin-off and then another one, and they were all as successful as the original one.
Yeah, no, that's true. And they were all quite different, but they all had that similar theme. Not a similar theme, they had similar threads throughout them, didn't they? And also some recurring characters that sort of crossed over and stuff. So it's interesting that worked the way it did.
They did well at sort of pacing that, I think. I think
there was always like a season.
Seasons in the DS9 started. Sorry, Reg, if this is getting too Star Trek nerdy for you.
Oh, what are we still playing? Sorry, I completely zoned out there for a minute.
I'm just on WoW. Sorry.
I wish.
Right, you got to open your mind. Deep Space Nine is excellent. Excellent Star Trek.
I opened my mind enough to watch a show that's based in space. So, I did it.
A show that's based in space.
Which show is that?
The Orville?
I did watch some of the Orville, actually.
The Orville was really good. I liked it.
I watched the first series of the Orville, but I never saw any more than that. And I feel like I'm missing out.
Well, it was only 2, and then it got cancelled.
I didn't mind the Star Trek new films. I can't stand the old ones. And
films. I remember you enjoying those.
And I can't do it. I'm sorry. I genuinely can't bring myself to watch any of the original Star Trek stuff because I've got no interest in it.
No, it's of a time, and you've got to be in you've got to be a fan of that sort of stuff, I think.
Yeah, I can't get into Doctor Who either. I don't understand how
no,
that's
Doctor
got
Who's
so
garbage.
much fuss and stuff about it.
Sorry, people at home, but Doctor Who is absolute garbage, and I've never. They've had so many opportunities to reinvent that show and make it better, just good, and they keep blowing it.
Well, I don't know. I feel like that show. I know a lot of people who are huge fans, and then you've got me, who I've watched a bit and gone, oh, okay, but I'm not really that. It's never been anything like that's particularly special. Like I know people who are huge fans, but I'm just no.
I don't understand how Sherlock can be so good, yet the same writer. I don't know. Doctor Who just is so cheesy, and I find it badly written, and it's not my cup of tea. But Sherlock is I think one of my favorite all time shows. It's so well done.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. It's weird. I think if I'd have known that it was written by the same guy, I probably would have avoided it.
But I tell you what, I watched Enola Holmes.
I was about to ask
Netflix.
if anyone's seen it yet. Is it good?
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
It was a fun movie. I feel like Sherlock Holmes has just got this trope now of Sherlock Holmes being this, pretty much in all the recent films and in a TV show where he'll just go off on this moment of being like, oh, and then I saw this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and that showed me how that, he's like this savant. And that feels like that's how all the Sherlock Holmes characters are played. And I just want something different. I want someone to do something different. And I get that this was a different character, but it still felt a bit like that. It felt a bit too samey. Just
I don't
with
know.
the annoying girl out of Stranger Things.
Oh, I thought she was great, but I made the vow to everyone else I was talking the other day that, as far as I'm concerned, Henry Cavill is now the only Sherlock Holmes. I loved him.
Really?
I loved him in the part, and I also love that he is a statuesque man mountain who gives me thoughts and doubts about myself I never knew about, because you see him in those period outfits, like Victoria's stuff. He looks the part. You see him there in double-breasted suit. He's a good-looking dude.
Have you seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
I have not seen that.
I think it's on Netflix. It's good. It's a Guy Ritchie film, Guy Ritchie sort of spy movie, and he's really good in that. It's him and Armie Hammer, and they're both good. It's worth watching that if you are a bit of a fan of the gent.
Nice.
Have
you seen
of the cap?
The thingy? I was trying to think of his fucking name now, but obviously it's the Schneider Cut, isn't it? Have you seen that they're actually going back to do reshoots?
Yeah, well, that's what they said all along. They said that they wanted to sort of flesh it out and finish the product they wanted.
It's mad how it's like 4 years later or fucking something stupid. And they're like, yeah, let's go do it. I'm like, no, did you not learn the first time? No means no.
Well, I mean, they've got to get 4 hours worth of television together, Ed.
Yeah, when will they stop making that movie? Because they're still making it, apparently. How?
Yeah.
It came out so long ago.
Well, this is just it. It's not. I mean, it's technically not a movie now. It is a 4-part miniseries, 4 hours worth of TV. That's what they're doing.
Oh my days! Sorry, I'm just going completely off topic, but sort of on topic. Going about, we were talking about Universal smells. So have you seen they finally announced the Velocicoaster coaster? Finally announced it properly officially. So it's got 4 inversions and 2 intense launches. And they put up a picture of it at night time.
Yeah, but Reg, the most important question is, what does it smell like?
Yeah.
That's the important question.
I presume dinosaur excrement smells a bit like rotten meat and cabbage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess it's going to smell like a Wendy's.
Oh. Stone cold, man.
I do love a Wendy's though. There's some Baconator on the scene. Baconator and get on the on-list employee of the month. Yeah. I can't wait to do that. I was so excited when I found that, Dad. So, Dave, there's a line on a Bare Naked Lady song, and it was. Is it Some Fantastic or is it something? I know. Yeah, Some Fantastic. It's that one, and it's one of them is get a job at Wendy's and get on the on-list employee of the month. And then the first time we went with Dan, we went to Wendy's and everyone was looking at the menu, and I was just hunting around trying to find the on-list employee, like the employee of the month, like where's the employee of the month, where's the employee of the month, and I took about 6 photos of it. And then Ash took photos of the food, as did Dan, like the sensible thing to do. And I'm just like, yeah. And the dude whose name was on the plaque must have been like, why is he taking so many photos of my plaque? And I was like, this is amazing. But yeah, so good. But yeah, so Henry Cavill and Justice League, sorry. Well, threw me off with all
That's
that.
all right, Rich.
There's this kind of on topic of that actually. There's potentially going to be a spin-off prequel series about from the new Suicide Squad movie that James Gunn did.
John Cena.
John Cena's character Peacemaker coming to HBO Max.
Yeah, so does that mean we're going to get it on Amazon Prime over here, or is that what HBO Max is over here?
No, HBO Max isn't anything. The only thing that HBO have got to deal with Sky, so Sky Atlantic is HBO. Why all the Game of Thrones and Westworld and everything goes straight to that.
Sorry.
But I don't think they've got some of the shows that are on like what's it called, the Lovecraft County show. I suppose that people are absolutely loving at the minute. I don't think that's being shown on anything over here.
Yeah,
it is.
That's over here.
Okay, well there you go. Anything that's going on to Sky onto HBO must be going to Sky Atlantic then.
Oh, cool.
I'd not heard.
Well, to be fair, I'm one of those weird people that don't mind John Cena. I know a lot of people hate them, but me and Ash quite like him after watching Total Divas.
Right.
And seeing him on that, and just realising how entertaining he can be on that. We watched that Cock Blockers.
Oh yeah.
And he was brilliant in that. He was so funny. And I've just recorded the firefighter one that was on Sky Movies.
Oh yeah, Playing with Fire.
Playing with Fire, yeah. Just recorded that as well because obviously it's a John Cena thing. So we're like, that could be quite entertaining. We'll watch that.
Yeah,
I like John Cena. I like him.
Playing a fireman though. I just can't see him as a fireman.
I know he's far too out of shape.
See him.
He needs to be a fireman.
I just can't see him.
Oh, I get you now. Sorry, that was very slow on the uptake there.
Cheers. You're all right.
Yeah,
I feel like we should bow out at that.
We've peaked.
Amazing joke.
We have definitely peaked.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's been fun.
Yes, indeed.
It has. I've really enjoyed that, and time has gone by so quick.
It has.
Fortunately.
Blown by. And we talked about things that weren't video games for once. That's good.
Yeah, and most importantly, we talked about things that either A, haven't come out yet, or B, have only just come out.
Yeah.
Instead of most recent podcasts where we talked about stuff that came out 20 years ago.
And Reg was on, so obviously we talked about Shenmue. And Dave was on, so obviously we talked about Mass Effect.
That is true.
Dan's on, so we obviously talked over him for the majority of it.
Sorry, Dan.
Sorry, Dan.
Sorry. I don't mind. I don't edit things anymore. Reg does that. So.
It's fine. I completely forgot to write down the clip at the beginning. Annoyingly.
Yeah. You're going to have to listen to the whole thing.
I just do what I've done last time. Just skip to bits and be like, that was quite an entertaining bit.
Yeah, you eventually find it, don't you? Yeah. So, never mind. Right. Well, it's been a pleasure. Yes, we will hopefully see each other again on Wednesday for another edition of the exciting Nerdo D&D.
Yes, indeed.
That'll be nice.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. Same time next week.
Until next time.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Yo.